Printgreen is a new initiative that brings together key organisations to provide clear, fact-based insights into print's environmental impact. This transformative initiative for the UK aims to redefine the conversation around print sustainability. It's been developed through collaboration between key industry players. And the claim is that Printgreen is built on facts, not fiction. Despite the wealth of sustainability efforts within the print industry, a unified, clear and well-articulated message has been missing. And I'm delighted to welcome Tom Maskill, Chair of Printgreen and also the Chief Client Officer at Webmart, to explain how Printgreen is setting out to change that narrative. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
I was looking at your website, just finding out a bit more about yourselves. Do you want to say a little bit about the company and why you personally wanted to get involved at a pretty high level in this project?
Yeah, Webmart's pretty weird. We're lots of bright yellow and pink. We're been a certified B Corp for just over 3 years now. We've got a slightly strange business model where we retain a chunk of our profits and the remainder is distributed among all the staff at the end of every year. Been going for 27 years and work with about 170 clients, manage about £18 million of print a year. But we've always tried to do things in as sustainable way as possible. We've got various initiatives at Webmart that we work through, not only our kind of own carbon calculation tools for clients, but we work with them to mitigate their emissions and offset as well. So we've just offset over 3,000 tons of carbon for the last year for our clients' campaigns. And then we've got a 164-acre forest up in Scotland, for example, which we invest every year in rewilding. So we've always tried to be at the forefront of sustainable initiatives in print and marketing more broadly. And that's where the particular interest came in Printgreen, is that we've done a lot of work ourselves at Webmart, and then how can we work with the industry to help them benefit as well.
Could you tell us how the Printgreen concept was formed?
Yeah, absolutely. So this started about a year ago, and I was in conversations with the S&P and Market Reach around the kind of sustainability objections that we see all the time in the print sector. And we kind of realized that there were lots of really, really good things happening across the industry to both portray print as a sustainable communication channel, but also looking at ourselves as an industry and how can we decarbonize and be better for the planet. And lots of these working groups were happening across different trade bodies, and they were all doing great things, creating content, doing research, producing case studies. But there was a bit of a gap between that great work that the industry was doing and the people who were ordering print, our customers. And there was still a kind of a perception of print as an unsustainable channel at media buyers, brands, agencies, the people who use the channel. And the research conducted by two sides concluded that costs our industry over €300 million a year across Europe. A lot of it brought about by the kinds of campaigns that we see less of now, but we had for a decade of the Go Green, Go Paperless campaigns. It's quite easy to see that print has an environmental impact because you're holding a bit of tree, but with digital, you kind of are far away from the actual environmental impact. So those misconceptions still exist. And so what we wanted to do with Printgreen is leverage all of the fantastic work that already goes on across our industry and portray it in a single, unified, clear voice, specifically targeted at those who use the channel, so they can understand what the true impact is and what they can do to mitigate that.
Okay, so why is this such an important announcement? Who's going to benefit and how are they going to benefit?
So we hope it'll benefit both the key parties, so the print industry itself, because Printgreen is going to be, it is completely free to use, free to access to anybody. So any sustainability objections that we get as a sector, we can direct whoever the concerned stakeholder is to Printgreen. There's a completely free to use carbon calculation tool on there, which we developed alongside Carbon Quota. And that gives a high level indication of what the carbon footprint of a particular print spec would be if produced in the UK. And then there's lots and lots of guides and things on there on how to reduce their impact, what the impact is equivalent to, busting some myths around sustainability in print. So hopefully it'll benefit the print industry because they'll be able to better overcome sustainability objections. And hopefully also it'll benefit the brands and agencies who buy print because they're better able to understand what the true impact is. And hopefully then able to make use of a channel which has been consistently demonstrated to be really effective.
Sounds like the print industry or companies would need to take the initiative themselves to go to you and find out more and learn how to use these tools.
To some extent, you don't have to log in. So you just go to printgreen.org and you can click on Carbon Calculator and run through the impact. The way we've designed the calculation tool is it's to be as easy as possible to use. So you need absolutely no technical print knowledge to be able to use the tool. We've stayed away from fancy finishes or weird sizes or strange methods of binding and all that kind of stuff. So it's really, really simple to use. You go on and it's almost like you're building out an insurance quote. It kind of guides you through building out your print specification, and then it will deliver to you the carbon footprint for that print spec.
But when you made the announcement, you mentioned about bridging the gap between perception and reality. Mm-hmm. So what are the most common misconceptions about sustainability in print, and how is Printgreen going to address those?
With my Webmart hat on, we do millions and millions of pounds of print every year. And we often have people either switching off print and moving across to digital communications or reducing volumes. And the reason they give is it's just one of, we're trying to be more sustainable. Or we're already really sustainable as a business because we don't do print anymore. And so those kinds of misconceptions that we're trying to overcome with Printgreen. So at Webmart, we kind of do it on a one-to-one basis with an individual customer, and we can do some workshops around the actual impact is, and hopefully Printgreen can scale that across the industry. So it's helping to arm people with the information that they need to be able to make an informed decision, and not just turn around and say, I think print is probably unsustainable, therefore I'm going to divert our spend elsewhere. It should be down to performance, down to their customer preference, down to what's best for their business, not a sometimes lazy assumption that print's really bad. And that's really what we're trying to overcome.
The press release also, it talks about greenwashing and how it's costing the industry millions. Mm-hmm. I'm interested to know in what way does it cost the industry millions? I think it's important to explore. And how's Printgreen going to combat that?
So it costs the industry millions in lost spend, because if you don't invest in the print channel and your reason is because of it's unsustainable, that's costing us money as a sector. The two things we can do to combat that is, one is decarbonise and become more sustainable as a sector, which we're already making fantastic strides in as an industry. Carbon emissions involved in producing a ton of paper 30 years ago compared to today, it's a fraction. The efficiency of presses, the prevalence of renewable energy across the supply chain. So lots and lots of things have happened there to decarbonise the sector, which is fab. The other thing we can do is change perceptions, and that's the bit that Printgreen's focused on, is telling the true story of the impact of print. We're not trying to say print is a silver bullet and there's no impact whatsoever, and it's absolutely fantastic. There's still more that we need to do. But the gap that we're kind of hinting at there is the gap between print's actual impact and the general perception of print, which is generally assumed to have a much higher carbon impact. And we see it also in some of the campaigns that we've run for clients, where we've done A/B tests of very sustainable messaging versus no sustainability messaging, and seen the impact that has with their customers. So we see, mailing returns go down, we see response rates increase. And that also kind of illustrates the fact that if you can be seen to be doing things responsibly and doing things in a sustainable way, that also can have a commercial benefit. There's lots of different aspects to it, lots of different areas that we need to change. And this is very much the first iteration of Printgreen, where we've very much focused on commercial print and mail. We'd love to, again, depends on funding from the sector, but we'd love to expand that to look at point of sale, look at packaging and other areas of print where this is still very much an issue.
Yeah, I think on that, will you be looking at large format print as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, it's the speed at which we can do these things is, we're a non-profit organisation. We're entirely dependent on funding from the industry. We've been very fortunate with some of the backing that we've had already from various industry partners, but we're always looking for more. The more we can raise, the quicker we can expand the scope, both in terms of the type of print that we're able to offer the carbon calculations for. So yeah, large format, absolutely. Packaging, yes. But also the geographic reach. So currently we're just UK specific, but we'd love to look at Europe as well.
So I'm keen to, so as you say, you're sort of in the early stages with this, and there's a lot to be doing. It sounds like a fantastic thing for the industry. What does success look like for this initiative?
We always defined it as a fair representation of print from a sustainability standpoint. I guess by fair we mean accurate. So I think we feel that the print industry doesn't get a fair representation in the media mix from a sustainability standpoint, and that's what success would look like. And that's why we're working with people like AdNet Zero and looking at kind of broader media carbon calculation tools to ensure that with a single voice for the sector, we have a single version of the truth. So whether it's looking at broader media calculations, big media mixes, that print is fairly represented at each point. So I think that's what success would look like for us.
So there's quite a few organisations involved in the paper. I won't ask you to list them. We can do that elsewhere. You don't want to miss people out. How can people and other organisations and other print companies get involved in the project?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you say, there's a long old list of people who've been kind of founding partners for Printgreen. And we try to involve a really broad spectrum of trade bodies in particular, so we get a good representation across the industry. But also it really adds legitimacy to Printgreen when we can say it's backed by all of these trade bodies and organisations. In terms of getting involved, well, first of all, head to the Printgreen website and have a play around with the carbon calculation tool. We've only been going a week and we've had loads of calculations go through there, which is great. And then if you can support the initiative, then yeah, please get in touch. So just follow the contact form on the website, get in touch. And then anything you can do to support the sector, support the industry initiative, be much appreciated. And like I say, it's a non-profit, so it's all just going back into developing, growing and spreading Printgreen.